The president says no to overturning a socially conscious retirement rule, the Republican-backed bill that would prevent pension fund managers from basing investment decisions on factors like climate change, cleared Congress March 1st, but was vetoed by President Biden. Meanwhile, in Vermont, the legislature is considering a bill that would have state pension plans divest from fossil fuels. Tom Golonka is the chair of the Vermont Pension Investment Commission. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So first of all, explain the role of the commission.
Well, the commission was a couple years ago, the state legislature spun off VPIC. It used to be a division of the treasurer's office. And so the pension commission is made up of representation from the municipal employees, the teachers' employees, the state employees, as well as the governor's office, the treasurer, and leagues of cities and towns. So it really gives a good cross-section of representation of the state pension. We manage the roughly $6 billion in state pension assets between those three systems.
The bill being debated in the legislature to do away with fossil fuel investments, even though those investments might yield some of the best financial returns. Do members of the commission support this?
Well, the issue, I think Vermont is unique because we're so small. We have a relatively small pension plan. We don't manage the money in-house. We rely, like a lot of people do here in the state, on indexing as well as mutual funds. We don't go out and buy individual stocks other than through an index. And so Vermont's caught in a situation where indexes will have a residual amount of fossil fuel stocks in their holdings, maybe 3 to 5% or so. And we, by our nature of owning the index funds, will end up owning some of the underlying shares. Now, in Vermont, we've used that to our advantage, and we've advocated for we've used our proxy voting policies to actually advocate for change at some of these companies. And I think we've had tremendous success through the years. We haven't supported the act or the proposed legislation for a variety of reasons. And it's mainly because of the increased costs that it would incur to Vermonters, both through its mandates. If we're to squeeze out the last bit of index exposure to fossil fuels, we'll in essence have to expand or eliminate our indexing program. And as well, we have significant exposure in private equity and private debt, which really doesn't give us the ability to pick and choose what our individual investments are. We can negotiate with our managers, but if we're left out of the private equity markets, we'd have to remove that from our asset allocation strategy. And so there's significant costs involved with both of those two issues. And so because of that, VPIC has not been supportive of this legislation at this time.
There is also a push in the legislature to focus on environmental, societal, and governance investments. Does that benefit Vermonters?
I think it does. I think Vermonters have an outsized representation on that issue because we have a tremendous staff here in Vermont. We have 3 staff members who have used our proxy voting to become part of what they call the Climate 100 group. And so in addition to climate advocacy work, we've also advocated for, workers' rights, compensation issues in terms of board compensation. And, we're always looking for, well, how can we advocate for change, particularly for companies we own? Our view and our policy at VPIC has been, because we own the stock, we have the ability to represent different views, or at least competing views, to help make change in those companies. Without owning and by divesting, you really give up that right. And I think that would be a detriment to Vermonters because we do advocate for, I think, more pressing issues of the time.
Tom Golonka, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.